Good evening, Purple family. Welcome to another episode of Shades of Purple, a Prince podcast. On tonight's episode, we are going to be reviewing the Batman album. So this is Prince's 11th studio album, and out of all of the albums in Prince's discography, the Batman album is a very unique album. And the reason why I say that is because it's basically a soundtrack album, and it's a soundtrack album because, of course, of the Batman movie. Now, the Batman movie that came out in 1989 was kind of the beginning of the superhero era in movies. Because prior to this, we only saw Batman in like TV shows and comic books. So this was the first major movie about Batman. Now, of course, back in the 60s when they had the TV show, they had like some little cheesy movies that came out, I think, but nothing like this. And this was like a totally different type of animal for this Batman movie. They wanted it to be like super over the top. You know, they threw a lot of money into the project. And then Tim Burton, of course, was the director. And Tim Burton at the time was a very interesting, and really still is, interesting director, particularly for a movie like Batman, when previously he's done movies like Beetlejuice and kind of like macabre type movies, kind of weird, but he has like this visual beauty about his movies. Like you can tell a Tim Burton movie when you see it. One of the first Tim Burton movies that I ever watched was Edward Scissorhands with Johnny Depp. And at the time, I just kind of thought that it was kind of a little weird movie, but I kind of got into it, and it's still one of my favorite movies today. And it's just, like I said, you know a Tim Burton movie when you see it. And he just was such a visual, and still is, he's still with us, such a visual director. And so when he got the Batman project, I just was really interested to see exactly how this was going to come about. Now, of course, I was born in 1983. So when the movie came out in 1989, I was still in kindergarten. So I didn't see the movie when it came out. I didn't see the Batman movie until many years later. And of course, its sequel, Batman Returns, that came out in 1992. I saw both those movies, in the 90s, and I really like both of them. And to this day, they're still, I think, probably the two best Batman movies. I didn't really care for the Batman movies that came out in around like the early 2000s with Christian Bale. The only one I liked was Dark Knight. Was of course Heath Ledger playing the Joker. Other than that one, I really didn't care. Batman Begins was, I guess that was okay, but I really didn't care too much for that series. So when I look back, I always when I think about Batman, I think about these two movies, Batman and Batman Returns. And one of the things that also stood out about those movies is not only Prince's contribution to the first Batman, but the incredible Danny Elfman, who was the composer and scorer. He has he made up the whole, Batman theme. Dun, 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 dun. So Danny Elfman did a lot of Tim Burton's movies. Tim Burton had a history of kind of using some of the same people for his movies. Like he has this set designer, not set designer, she does the clothes. Colleen Atwood, like she does all the costumes, and Danny Elfman is somebody that does all the music for his movies. And I mean, he is just fantastic. He did such a great job with the score that when the animated series, Batman the Animated Series, came out in the early 90s, they got Danny Elfman to do the score for that show. And of course, we know how significant that show will go on to become. Between the Batman movies and Batman Animated Series, that really helped me to grow to really like Batman as a character. And to this day, he's still my favorite superhero out of everybody. So sorry about all that. I just wanted to get all of that out of the way just as a preface for how Prince came about coming into this project. So one of the first songs that he learned on the piano when he was a little boy was the theme to Batman. So Batman was something that was really close to Prince's heart. And so when he got connected to the project through his manager, Actually, now I don't know how true all of this is, but apparently Jack Nicholson, who played, of course, the Joker in the Batman and Batman Returns movies, was a big Prince fan. And supposedly he went to the director, Tim Burton, and said, hey, you know, maybe we should get Prince to do the soundtrack. And at the time, Burton was already kind of thinking about incorporating a Prince song into the movie. He actually wanted to talk to Prince about getting the song 1999 for the movie. And Prince was like, well, let's take it a step further. Let's just do like a whole soundtrack. And he actually gave Tim Burton like 100 songs. When at first, you know, Burton just wanted one song. He wanted the 1999 song. But then after talking to Jack, he was like, okay, well, maybe you could give me a couple of songs that we could use for the movie. And instead of giving him a couple of songs, Prince went overboard and gave him like 100. Now, these weren't all new songs, of course. He probably pulled a lot of these songs from his famous vault. But there were some new compositions that he used. And most of the new compositions did make it on to the soundtrack album, which we're getting ready to talk about. So that's just a little background of how that all got started. So let's get into the information that I found on the Prince Vault about the Batman album. So let's see. So it came out in June of 1989. And it is, like I said, the only soundtrack album, because he's done other soundtrack albums, but they were all related to a Prince project, like Purple Rain and Under the Cherry Moon. So those were Prince projects, but the Batman album was the only soundtrack where he was not involved as an actor. So director Tim Burton wanted to use two songs. So 1999, oh, and Baby I'm a Star. I forgot about that. So he wanted to use Baby I'm a Star and 1999 in a rough cut of the movie and felt that they worked really well in mid-December of 1988. He connected with Prince to ask if he could re-record the tracks for use in the movie or provide new tracks instead. So he wanted 1999 and Baby I'm a Star. And that's what he initially contacted Prince about. So Prince was initially uncertain until visiting the movie set in January of 1989, where he met Burton and discussed the concept and watched a rough cut portion of the movie. He became so interested in writing music for the movie that he considered canceling the Japanese leg of the Love Sexy tour, but it would have been too costly to do so. So he was so interested in wanting to start on this Batman project that he didn't even want to go to Japan for the Love Sexy tour. But his managers were like, hey, you know, this has already been planned. It's going to be too expensive for us to pull out. And at this point, the Love Sexy European tour was already over budget. Like I talked about this in my Love Sexy album review, the fact that the sets design was so expensive to the point where they were just, you know, leaving stuff out. You know, every time they would move to a new city or a new country in Europe, they were having to leave some stuff behind because the set design was so expensive. So by the time they got to Japan, which was supposed to be the last leg of the tour, it was almost set up almost like how the new tour would be, with hardly any set design, just real basic stuff. And I don't know if that's the reason why he just was like over it. But I think at this point, you know, Prince is like, you know, he doesn't like to stay on something for too long. You know, he gets bored with it. And by this point, I'm sure he was just done with Love Sexy and he was just ready to move on. So this is just like classic Prince. Like, okay, I've done this to death. I'm ready to move on. Japanese will be all right, you know, which is kind of messed up when you think about it. But I'm glad that, you know, his managers were able to help him to see reason, and he finished the Love Sexy tour in Japan. So moving on, though, Prince began recording songs for the album in mid-February of 1989, immediately after returning from the Love Sexy tour. And he previewed 11 songs in late February, including Rave Unto the Joy Fantastic, 200 Balloons, and he intended to replace 1999 and Baby I'm a Star and the Batman theme. So he was going to use the Wave Unto the Joy Fantastic and 200 Balloons to replace 1999 and Baby I'm a Star. So I guess he just decided he didn't want to use those old songs. He worked on the album further in March 1989, recording Partyman and Trust to replace Rainbow to the Joy Fantastic and 200 Balloons respectively. So he decided he didn't want to do those two, but 200 Balloons will go on to be the B-side to The Bad Dance. Dance with the Devil was recorded for the album, but Prince considered the song to be too dark, and it is dark, and replaced it with The Bad Dance, which was the last song recorded for the album. While the bulk of the album was recorded between mid-February and the end of March 1989, Electric Chair was recorded in June of 1988 and Scandalous in October 1988. In addition, Vicky Waiting was a revamped version of Anna Waiting, initially recorded in December of 1988. So that's how, all the sessions were. So he did most of it in 1988 and 1989. So let's go to the first track, The Future. I see the future and it will be. So The Future, I like this. I like the song. It kind of has like a ominous tone to it, because he's saying in the song that he sees the future, and he says that it's going to work, but he also says that he knows that we're in, the future is going to be kind of dark, kind of bleak, that the future is not going to be what we all think it's going to be. It's not going to be sunshine and rainbows all the time. So it's kind of, like I said, it has kind of an ominous vibe to it, but I dig it. So it's the first track. We already talked about when it was recorded, but they say here that the specific recording dates are not known, but the basic tracking was in mid-late February 1989 at Paisley Park. So they don't really know exactly when he recorded it at Paisley Park. And that could be because when he would do his recordings at Paisley Park, he would be working on many different projects at the same time. So while he was working on the Batman album, he could have been also still doing some stuff with Graffiti Bridge, or he could have been doing stuff with Joy Unto the Brave Fantastic, because actually Joy Unto the Brave Fantastic was a project that he was working on before he started working on the Batman album. So there's that. So let's see. The vocals on the album are credited to a character from the movie. Okay, so that's another thing about this album that's really unique. So each song represents a different character in the Batman universe. So for The Future, it was attributed to Batman. So there would be songs that were attributed to Batman, songs that were attributed to Joker, and songs that were attributed to Vicky Vale, which of course is the female romantic interest played by, of course, Kim Basinger in the movie. So that's kind of how he set it up, because the reason why that was set up that way was because initially this was supposed to be a joint project that was supposed to have been done with Michael Jackson. And there was even talk that it was going to be Prince, Michael Jackson, and what is his name? I can't think of his name now. But it was supposed to be those three. Faith guy. What is his name, y'all? I hate, sometimes when I start this, it's like I just go completely blank. I can't remember anybody's name. I hate this. So let me think. I'm gonna think of his name. George Michael. Okay. George Michael. So initially there was talk that the Batman soundtrack was going to be split up between Michael Jackson, Prince, and George Michael. George Michael, I think, was supposed to do, kind of like more of the romantic songs. And Michael Jackson was supposed to do like the Batman theme songs. And Prince was supposed to do the Joker theme songs. So I don't know what happened with that whole thing. I think at the time, Michael, though, he was doing the Bad album, and I think he was on tour. And maybe George Michael was also on tour at the time. I'm not sure. But anyway, it ended up all falling on Prince to do. And so I guess Prince decided to keep that whole theme of assigning characters to the different songs. So let's see, what else can I say? Here's something interesting about it. The track samples strings by Claire Fisher, which we know Claire Fisher was his collaborator when he was doing the Under the Cherry Moon soundtrack with the different string arrangements. So there's also a sample in The Future from Claire Fisher, and from Crystal Ball. and it includes samples of vocals by Minneapolis gospel group Sounds of Blackness. So Sounds of Blackness is one of those early 90s groups that were my favorite to listen to. They have a song called Optimistic, as long as you keep your head to the sky. So there is also a sample from that group in the song The Future. So what do you guys think about The Future? My husband really likes the song, and it's like I said, I like it too, but if I'm honest, it's not my favorite. So let's move on to one of my favorites, the next track, Electric Chair. So Electric Chair for me is I like the vibe of it. It's, a rock song, and in this song he's talking about wanting to get with this chick, but he couldn't because he was, talking to another girl, but then he has all these, feelings and thoughts in his mind that are kind of, I hate to use the word scandalous because that's another, a title of a song on this album, but he's thinking about some really kind of freaky thoughts, probably knowing Prince. So he was like, if a man is guilty for what goes on in his mind, give me the electric chair for all my future crimes. So he's already thinking about, what he probably wants to do with her. And he was just like, people, and you know what, he does know the future, because I think that was the plot of The Minority Report. Was it not, that movie where people were getting arrested for thoughts or even things that they were going to do in the future, but hadn't? So Prince, once again, he ahead of his time on that. So I don't know when The Minority Report was written. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, The Minority Report was a Tom Cruise movie. I can't remember what year it came out. And actually, I haven't even seen the movie, but I know what it's about. But anyway, people, from some time, it's one of those dystopian future type of movies where everybody is kind of living kind of bad. It's like, and everybody is like under the thumb or the eye of Big Brother, so to speak. And you can't even think a bad thought. If you think too bad of a thought that they consider to be criminal, they can arrest you and even put you in jail and even execute you. So Prince was already thinking something like this. So this is Prince's version of The Minority Report. And probably one of my favorite performances of all time for Prince is him performing the electric chair on Saturday Night Live's 40th anniversary. Now, if you haven't seen it, I have put it up on the Facebook page, but it is on YouTube, and it's one of my favorites because, oh my God, y'all, Prince looks so sexy in this video. He has the flowing, beautiful hair. He's clean shaven. I think this time period, the time Love Sexy in the Batman era, I think he was at his most sexiest to me. And he looked incredible. Like he had like the long flowing hair, which he looked so good in that. But then he was clean shaven and it took years off his face. It made him look like he was like 12. It's already bad enough that he's such a small man. But then, he literally looked like a teenager. And he looks good, So check that music video out if you haven't seen it. This YouTuber that I follow named KMZ, when she saw it, she was just like, God damn, he is so fine. She had to turn around in her chair and everything. She was like, man, that motherfucker fine. It was so, look her up, KMZ. I've also talked about her on the Facebook page too. But anyway, I might have to put up her reaction to the electric chair performance because it is hilarious, y'all. So I'll probably put that up after I put this episode up. But moving on, I love Electric Chair, one of my favorites on the album. So moving on to The Arms of Orion. So this was kind of the slow ballad that he did with Sheena Easton. And I have to be honest with you guys, it's not my favorite. I want to say that it's growing on me, but I don't even want to lie and say that. It's just one of those songs. It's just like, now I like the duet that he did when he did You Got the Look with her. And a lot of people don't like that, but I actually like You Got the Look. But as far as The Arms of Orion, it just, it was attributed to Batman and Vicky Vale. And, it's kind of a love song. Batman and Vicki Vale are, talking about, their love, their relationship and all that. And, I get all that, but I guess it just wasn't nothing that, caught my attention. But this is what Sheena Easton said in a 2012 interview about The Arms of Orion. She said, I sent him the lyrics to The Arms of Orion. He really liked it, put music to it, and it ended up being on the Batman soundtrack. I'm totally into the stars. Right outside my bedroom window, right over my front guest house, you look right into Orion, which is kind of like a constellation, if you're not familiar, which is basically just like a collection of stars. I love the concept of two lovers apart, looking up at the same stars and wishing they could be together. And that's sweet. Don't get me wrong, that's sweet. And I did like how at the very end of the song, how it faded out into like the strings and the piano. I thought that was really nice. But like I said, it has its good, but I guess it just has to continue to grow on me. Of note, this track is credited both on the album and single as Prince with Sheena Easton. Once of only a few times that co-credit has been given to anyone other than Prince's band, The Revolution or the New Power Generation. So that goes to show you that Prince really respected and valued his working relationship that he had with Sheena Easton. Let's see. The vocals are credited to a character from the movie, Bruce Wayne and Vicki Vale. So not Batman. So this is actually credited to Bruce Wayne and Vicki Vale. And of course, Bruce Wayne is Batman, but Bruce Wayne is... when he's not Batman, that's, who he is. But y'all should know this if you don't. But I'm just trying to cater to people who may not be as familiar with the whole Batman story. So let's see what else about the Arms of Orion. Okay, I think that's it. So moving on. Let's see what's next. Partyman. So you can probably tell I really like Partyman. This is another favorite of mine on this album. So let's see. Partyman was a successful single. Not surprised to hear that. The song was not included on the hits collection. It is believed that this was due to the licensing of movie dialogue included in the opening seconds of the song, although these were simply edited out when the track was included on the Peach single. So it has some licensing issues because there is kind of clips from the movie, and that is also the reason why the Bat Dance isn't on the hits album, for that reason, because of licensing issues. Because Batman, of course, is a licensed character, so he wasn't able to include those because he had to give those rights over to Batman and whoever owns, Batman. So let's see what else. I love the music video. And for those of you who may not know, if you've seen, and of course they're on YouTube, so you can check them out if you haven't. But the extended version with the monkey is kind of a hit on Michael Jackson. And the reason why I say that is because, Michael Jackson had his chimp named Bubbles, right? Okay, so in Moonwalker, the movie, he talks about how when he, after the opening sequence of them doing Bad, the music video, and how they turn into kids or whatever. So right before Michael Jackson turns back into a regular adult, they're going down the steps into his dressing room, and and he asked one of his friends, where's Bubbles? And his friend was like, well, the last time I saw him, he was wearing a Prince t-shirt and a hat or something like that. And so the little boy says, Prince t-shirt. And so when I thought about that, and I saw the extended version of the Partyman video, and you see a chimp with a Batman t-shirt on, and Prince gives him a banana with, a peeled banana that says psych in it. And so I immediately thought, okay, so Prince definitely must have saw Moonwalker, because Moonwalker came out before Batman. I think Moonwalker came out in 1988, I believe. So I was like, so Prince definitely saw Moonwalker and saw that little, that little hit that Mike did against him. So I think he was kind of returning that favor. Also, there is in the National Enquirer around the same time, there was this story, crazy, outlandish story, that Prince was like communicating, he was communicating through telepathy with Bubbles, and was telling Bubbles to like do things to Michael Jackson, to make him like destroy the room and just like break all of Michael's stuff. And so if I can find this article, I'll put it on the Facebook page as well. And so in the article, Michael was all upset, saying he was going to, really get Prince for this, and how he couldn't believe that Prince was communicating telepathically using ESP with his chimp. And so when I see the Partyman video, and you see the peeled banana and it says psych on it, that also made me think of that article, because Prince did read stuff about him in those supermarket rags, and just like Michael did from time to time. So they always knew about who was talking about them. So that made me think that maybe he saw that and was like, and just thought it was funny. So he incorporated it into the Partyman video. But the Partyman song, of course, is attributed to, of course, the Joker. Let's see what else. Partyman replaced Raven to the Joy Fantastic, which I think was definitely a good idea. Now, I like Raven to the Joy Fantastic, but I think Partyman definitely fits Batman better. And the Partyman, of course, was also the introduction to Gemini, the Prince character that Prince became for the video, where he's kind of like half Joker, half Batman. And he did that for the Partyman video, and of course for the Bat Dance video. And for some reason, he was still completely sexy. I don't know what you guys think, but he was still sexy to me, and all that makeup. And I'm just like, damn, he just can literally make anything look good. So that's Partyman. So on to the next track, which is Vicky Waiting. So I know a little bit about the background for Vicky Waiting. So initially, the track was called Anna Waiting, and it was a track that Prince actually gave his girlfriend at the time, Anna Fantastic, also known as Anna Garcia, for her 18th birthday. And so it was called Anna Waiting. But he decided to take it back and redo it for the soundtrack, and he changed it to Vicky Waiting. So, of course, this song is about the character of Vicky Vale. So, let's see. So, I said that about Anna Waiting because it was just something that I knew, because in one of my other episodes talking about his girlfriends, Anna Fantastic is one of the last women that I talk about, and I talk about how she, he gave her this song for her birthday. Let's see. So, I already knew that. Let's see, what else can we learn? I think that's it. I kind of like it. At first, I didn't really like this song either. But after I was listening to the Batman soundtrack for like 2 weeks straight, I was like, this is kind of all right. And it's one of those songs that if you listen to it enough, it'll stick in your head. So I dig it. I dig it a lot. So that's Vicky Waiting. And the next track, Trust. And Trust, I think, was played briefly in the movie. I know Partyman was also played in the movie as well. But Trust was played in the movie, I believe. And Trust, I think, also fits the movie, because when you look at the Joker character, he just is kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. I mean, obviously he's like a madman murderer. But I don't know, something like this song kind of fits with, his character. Like, you don't want to trust him, but you feel like if you get close enough to him, you can. And I think that's kind of what happened with Harley Quinn. I think this is a good, I know this is probably like, what are you talking about? But just follow me. Just follow me with this. So in Trust, Prince is basically saying, hey, look, this is what everything is all about. Trust. If you don't trust anybody, you can't get anywhere. Even by yourself, you just can't do it. So I think this really fits the Joker character, and it is attributed to Joker. So that makes sense. Let's see. While specifically recording dates are unknown. So a lot of this Batman album, the recording dates, because they were at Paisley Park, and like I said, because he was working on so many other projects, the dates are unknown. But he did it around the same time that he did the Partyman and Bat Dance. The song was submitted to replace 200 Balloons, and I really liked 200 Balloons, and I really wish that he would have put that on the album, because I mean, I thought that it fit given the theme of the Joker and how he would, use the balloons to poison the people of Gotham. So I really liked how he was able to incorporate that. So I think 200 Balloons should have really been included in the soundtrack. If I had any critique of the soundtrack, it would probably be that 200 Balloons should have been included and not just a B-side to Bad Dance. But anyway, I digress. Let's see, what else can we learn about Trust? It looks like that's it. Like I said, Trust is one of those songs. I like it, and it has like a nice little beat. But it's, I can take it or leave it. So, moving on now. This next one, Lemon Crush. Love Lemon Crush. And it's just one of those things. It's catchy. Every time you see me, Lemon Crush. It's like, it just has like a, dun, 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 dun. I like the beat. I like the lyrics, He's actually talking about his girlfriend, Anna Fantastic, in the lyrics. And Lemon Crush actually comes from, that was her favorite drink. And so I just love how Prince is able to take, things that are going on in his real life and be able to, just put them on an album, just make a song about it, just like that. So he took literally his girlfriend's favorite drink and turned it into a song. And of course, he's talking about her, like I said in the song, about her being, pretty, pretty every time you do me, talking about their, when they get down and all that, of course. But I liked it. And for some reason, it just seems to work. This is attributed to Bruce Wayne as well, talking about, of course, Vicky Vale. So there is that. So Lemon Crush, another one of my favorites on this album. Now, the next track, we all know it. We all love it. Scandalous. And of course, this is another song that's attributed to Batman. Now this is Batman. Now, not Bruce Wayne, but Batman talking about Vicky Vale. And Scandalous, of course, has a scandalous background in that. So supposedly, and I've said this story before in other episodes, that Kim Basinger, which is who he met on the set of Batman, and they ended up getting together. They first got together, I think, while Batman was still being shot, and then after it wrapped, she actually ended up moving to Paisley Park and living there with Prince for a little while. So I'm not sure when this was recorded. Let me see, does it say? But I'm not sure when they recorded it. But when they did, supposedly, I don't know if it's like if they were doing a nasty and he decided to record it, right after that or before that. But anyway, he ended up putting her moans into the song. So you can hear it, but it sounds like to me she's either laughing or crying. So I don't know what kind of moaning she's doing. But supposedly that's what you hear when you hear. I'm sorry, I can't even do it. So that's supposedly her moaning in, ecstasy. And there is credence to the story. Credence to the story, because the engineers at the time said that after Prince and Kim Basinger had a session, quote unquote, that they came in and there was honey all over the mixing boards that they had to clean out. So yeah, so it got a little sticky icky when they were recording their quote unquote music. But Scandalous and the video, of course, are great. I love the lyrics, and I love how Prince is doing like his little ballet and his his seductiveness and all of its sexiness. He got on this red get up that he has on. He's got his hair pushed back, pulled back into a ponytail. And I really wish that he would have had his hair out, because like in the electric chair video, I mean, it's just so flowy and long and beautiful. And I think that would have been a better look, but who am I? But I guess he just wanted his hair out of his face, and he knew that there wasn't going to be like a fan nearby, because he told his hairdresser, Kim Berry, that the only time that he liked his hair long was when it could flow. Like, it could be something like a fan or something blowing. So maybe they didn't have a fan on the set, and he was just like, well, I'll just put it back in a little ponytail. But I think that would have made it even sexier had he had his hair out. But anyway, that's scandalous, and it's still on my top 10 of Prince's ballads. And like I said, it's just one of those songs that it's a sexy song. It's a song that, will really get you, thinking about, your special someone. Now, I have heard that of one critic in particular, because I've read so many books about Prince, and each book that I've read, anytime that they get to this particular song, some of them have said that it sounds like a caricature of a Prince song, like a SNL skit, a parody, if you will. And I can kind of see why they say that, because when you think about it, how sensual and sexy Prince is, and then you hear a song like Scandalous, it almost sounds like, okay, he might be doing a little bit too much. He might be going, a little over the top with it. But I mean, when you know Prince and you're a fan of his music, you know that that's just Prince, So there's that. So last but not least, Bat Dance, the last track on the album. So for those of you who know and have been following my podcast, you know that Bat Dance, this song is particularly very sentimental to me, because it is the very first song of Prince's that I ever heard. And at the time, I didn't even know that he was Prince when I heard it. I was in kindergarten, and we would just be on the playground, at recess, singing like not the hook, but I guess would it be a hook? The part where he's talking about Vicky Bell. Oh yeah, I want to bust that body. And I remember that. And at the time, I didn't even know what I was singing. Probably would have got my ass beat had my mother heard. But I was just like, I kind of dig it. Everybody else was singing it, so I was singing it. And so to this day, I don't know how I was able to remember that. But it was a couple of years later before I found out that was Prince. And so the Bat Dance remains probably one of my favorite songs. And I know there are some people that don't care for it, because it is kind of a commercial song, and it really fits in with the Batman soundtrack, because you hear all of the little snippets from the movie. So it was made specifically for the movie. There's no doubt about that. But it was still one of Prince's number one hits. He only had 5 number one hits, and this was one of them, Bat Dance. And so let me see, what else can we learn about Bat Dance? And so there was a person that was on the set at the time who worked for Prince, and his name was Michael Cooper. And so you actually hear him when you hear Prince say, "Get the funk up." I thought he was saying "get the fuck up," but no, he's saying "get the funk up," because of course Batman is a family friendly movie, so they didn't want nobody cussing like that in the movie. So he had him do that part, "get the funk up." So that's where that comes from. Let's see, what else can we say about Bat Dance? Okay, I think that's it. Bat Dance was to replace also Dance with the Devil, which Dance with the Devil I think did become a B-side as well, but it was dark, and Bat Dance is a much uplifting song. And the one thing I really like about Bat Dance, in addition to the breakdown where he's talking about busting somebody's body, which is funny because he actually did bust Vicky Vale's body and other things in real life. But anyway, so another thing that's interesting about Bat Dance is that wonderful guitar solo. I think it's probably his most rock and roll guitar solos that he's ever done. And I think it's very underappreciated because in a lot of circles, the song isn't, people's favorite, not even within the purple community. And that's a shame because he really did do just a rocked out, like, I think even metalheads would appreciate that guitar solo that was in Bat Dance. So if you haven't, pay more attention to it the next time you happen to listen to Bat Dance. Or even the album period. I mean, he just did stellar work as always from start to finish. And this will always remain to be one of my favorite albums. And if you haven't, check out my top 10 Prince albums. I can't remember where I placed Batman, but I know that it was probably in my, it was top 10, but I can't remember where it was. But I think it was definitely in my top 5 because it's an album that I play quite a bit when I'm in the mood to play it, because like I said, I like the aesthetic of this era for him as far as how he looked and how he dressed. So it's definitely an album that I come back to a lot. So with that being said, I think that I'm going to end the review there. So guys, I've got a couple of things coming up on the podcast. I've got actually 2 top 10s that I'm working on. I'm working on a top 10 piano ballad and a top 10 Prince Purple Ladies countdown. My top 10 favorite Purple Prince's girlfriends and, girlfriends, wives, my favorite of those, and my top 10 favorite piano ballads. So I'm working on that. I also still have a book review coming. Kim Berry's book, I haven't forgot about that. Diamonds and Curls. I still have to review that. And I also going to continue the Purple Kingdom series. I've already done Andre Simone and Jill Jones. So next up, I'm probably going to do Des Dickerson in that series. So be on the lookout for that. So until then, peace and be wild, and may you live to see the dawn. Bye.